A lot of action in AMD, and in this video, I wanted to give you my fundamental and technical analysis for the company and to show you some of my process and how I would approach either buying or selling or waiting to purchase AMD. I am not a financial advisor, I'm just some guy on the internet, so please don't listen to anything I say and seek your own professional advice. Okay, so first I would head to my valuation dashboard and I would punch in AMD into cell A1, and that's going to auto-populate all of my scrape data and calculations. We're pulling this from both FinViz and FMP's API. So we know this is a semiconductor company, earnings of $3.39 billion, pretty good. 15,500 employees. They don't pay a dividend, getting recommended. It's got a PE around 30 with a forward PE of 16, pretty good. It's got a PEG over 1, so that's not good for a potential buy. We want to see that earnings growth and see it be a bit cheaper in terms of valuation. Price to sales, PB, price to cash flow, and free cash flow all pretty high. A quick to current ratio over 2, that's good. We want to see at least those numbers over 2. Earnings per share, trailing 12 months, $2.68, pretty good. Next year, almost doubling that, very good. Next quarter, earnings, $1.10. So you're going to see that drawback and that reflect in the price. EPS this year, about 25%. Next 5 years, past 5 years, this is all good. It's a semiconductor company. If you're a semiconductor company and you're not making money, you got problems. Sales quarter over quarter, very good. So all this is very, very nice. We like to see this. So insiders, we'd like to see a lot of insider ownership. These are the people that know the books, know the company, know the sales, the direction that it's going. And if we don't have a lot of skin in the game by the executives and the directors, then that might be a red flag. So for this, just to validate, I would head over to Open Insider because this is telling us that there's insider selling. Throw in AMD, and this is correct. We do have a lot of selling by executives, by the director, and most recently this gentleman, Kumar, who's the executive vice president, CFO, and treasurer, dumping shares. Now he's selling at 102. We're back around 80. He's selling $2 million worth, and he's the guy that knows the books better than anyone. So that's a red flag for me. If I have a CFO buying shares, that's very bullish. Back to our dashboard. Institutional ownership around 70%. Not as high as it could be. This is still pretty decent in terms of total ownership. If it gets around 80 to 90%, I might not look at it because it's not going to have those big moves up. Most of the institutions already own it, and they're either going to hold it or sell it. And we can see there's institutional transactions, so a lot of buying from them. And I would validate that through Whale Wisdom. Plug in AMD. They have a lot of good information here. If you didn't know, you have the Altman Z-score, which is going to be a bankruptcy score for the likelihood that the company might go out of business. I have that in my valuation dashboard. This is the call-put ratio with total puts at 129 million and total calls at 88 million. That's a red flag because there's more puts than calls, and more folks think that the company is going to go down. They're selling it short, and that's bearish for price. And then I would look at the source date for most recent quarter. What are people doing? Most folks are selling, but they're selling everything as well. So this doesn't tell us much. Everything's going down. Yield curve inversion, interest rates going up, a lot of deleveraging, crypto crashing, etc. Okay, back to our valuation dashboard. ROE of 17%. We'd like to see at least 20. Nice margins. Gross margin, operating margin, that's all good. Shares outstanding, 1.62 billion, a lot of dilution, and a very small short float at 2.56%. So that's good. Okay, moving on to our calculations and valuation models. Graham intrinsic value of about 20%. He would ask for a 15% margin of safety, so this would meet that. It's got a DCF of 81.45 with a total price right now of around 80, so that's okay, but not a lot of room for growth. It's got a CAPM of 21.1%, that's good. Earnings yield and ROIC, this is Joel Greenblatt's magic formula, so not great. ROIC of 6.4. He acquires multiple, 27.4. This is Tobias Carlyle's, essentially what the buyout price should be. So this is for venture capitalists, and you want to see that number as close to 1 as possible. So that's really high, actually. FMP rating of A+. FMP recommendation buy, that's okay. I don't really put a lot of weight into those. And then against the market, it's outperformed, so that's good. Petrosky F score of 7, That's really good. You want to score between 7 and 9. Sharp ratio of 0.71, so not a lot of risk. That's good. Altman Z-score of 9.3, so not a lot of risk of bankruptcy. That's also very bullish. If you have a score of less than 1.8, then the company is very likely to go bankrupt in the next 1 to 2 years. And it's got an M score of -2, which means they're likely not cooking the books, which I doubt that they would because it's such a big company. But you might see companies that might inflate their earnings, and that's when you would see a very low score, and that would indicate that there's something fishy going on. For our peer analysis, you're looking at 26 positive to 32 negative. We want to see a ratio that's actually more higher. EV to sales pretty good, 5.72, but they're a semiconductor company everyone's selling right now, and everything else is a bit expensive. Okay, moving on to annual revenue. Very good over the past couple of years. Next year, earning about 2%, and then in 2023, increasing by a lot. So we like to see this. This is very good. So I would put this on a watch list. I would definitely track this company. As quarterly revenue, latest quarter up 24%. Very good. So again, this is something we definitely want to track. And of course, earnings, they've beat for multiple quarters consecutively. That's good. That speaks to a very strong and good management team, and also bullish for price. Okay, moving over to the technical side. So I'm looking right now at the 1-year daily chart, and right out the gate, I don't like to see this because we're nowhere near the 30-week moving average, which is this blue line here. So if I go to the 5-year, you can see it a lot better where we were in a stage 1 base, stage 2 up here through 2019 in this Darvis box into 2020, big explosion up, topping. So stage 3 up here, and now we're in a stage 4 decline. So I'd like to see this 30-week moving average start to flatten out, and I might be interested. And I'd want to see the price move above this volume profile, which is where the majority of the shares are being traded. I'd additionally want to see the MACD flip to positive, and the Mansfield Strength Index also go positive. All right, so that's it. Would I buy AMD at this point? No. I would definitely track it. That's it for now. Appreciate it. Thanks.